passion each member holds for our children and for the opportunity to work hand in hand for the good of our families, students, and neighbors. Guide our discussions with your wisdom, that we may make decisions rooted in fairness, compassion, and what is best for everyone we serve. Help us listen to one another with open minds and kind hearts, valuing every perspective and finding common grounds in our shared mission. Strengthen our commitment to collaboration, grant us clarity in planning, and fill us with perseverance to turn our ideas into meaningful action. May our efforts here today contribute to the building a safer, more supportive, and thriving environment for our children. Watch over each member of this committee, our families, and every individual touched by our work. In your loving name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Honorable Aguiao.
Madam Chair, I move to dispense with the calling of the roll.
There being a motion without objection, the calling of the roll is dispensed with. Moving on, copies of the minutes of the first regular meeting dated 15 September 2025 have been duly circulated to the members of this committee. Is there a motion to dispense with the reading of the said minutes and to approve the same?
Madam Chair, I move to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the first regular meeting dated 15 September 2025 and to approve the same.
There being no objection, the motion to dispense with Bataan. Pilar, 6 and City. Honorable Caroline Agaya of Kalinga. Honorable Agatha Paula Aguilar Cruz, 5th District of Bulacan. Honorable Nico Raul Daza, 1st District of Northern Samar. Honorable Franz Vincent Legaspi, Pinoy Workers, and Honorable Lani Mercado Revilla, 2nd District of Cavite, as well as Honorable Jose Manuel Shell Jokno of Akbayan. May I ask COMSEC to recognize the rest of our resource persons, our guests, and the stakeholders present, please?
Good afternoon. With us today, our guests from the Council for the Welfare of Children, we have Mr. Sergio Serpico Nepomuceno and Ms. Ilja Alodio Santiago. From the DSWD, we have Jocelyn Binte Cruz. We also have Mr. Kristen S. Biok from the Protective Services Bureau. From the DepEd, we have Mr. Hernani O. Jaime. From the Bureau of Learning Delivery. From the DOJ, we have Attorney Jonaline Calare, State Counsel, Office of Cybercrime. We also have J. L. Urgel, the investigate from the Office of Cybercrime. From the National Parent Teacher Association, we have Maria Regina Corazon Sibel. From the National PTA Philippines, we have Mr. Wilfredo Willie O. Rodriguez. From the Early Childhood Care and Development Council, we have Ms. Maria Teresa O. Medina. From the PNP Women and Children Protection Center, we have Police Brigadier General Sheila Portento. From the Department of Education, we have Attorney Razel Ann Requesto, Director 4. From the Child Rights Network, we have Yuki Patricia Abion. From the Netherlands, we have Kathleen Hongkolada. From the Save the Children, we have Attorney Emma Salmani. From the PNP also, we have, from the Women and Children Protection Center, we have Police Lieutenant Colonel Catherine Tamayo. From the National Bureau of Investigation, we have Mr. Roy Rufino Zuniga. From the NBI, we also have Ms. Marie Catherine Nolasco Iliascas. From the DILG, we have Ms. Attorney Nicole Boquiren. From the DILG NBOO, we have Lovesita P. Daumar. And from the National PTA, we have Mr. Benvenido P. Aspile. That's all, Your Chair. That's all, Chairman.
Thank you, COMSEC. Honorable colleagues, representatives of government agencies, our partners from civil society, the education sector, child-focused organizations, and all our distinguished guests, isang makabatang hapon po sa inyong lahat. We will tackle today Parent-Teacher Community Act. The proposed legislative measure before us today reflect the fundamental principle that the welfare of children is a shared responsibility of families, schools, communities, and the state. The proposed Parent-Teacher Community Act seeks to institutionalize and strengthen parent-teacher and community associations as active, rights-based partners in early childhood development centers and basic education schools. By expanding membership, ensuring automatic and inclusive participation of parents and caregivers, mandating consultation with children, and strengthening partnerships with local governments and civil society organizations, the measure addresses long-standing gaps where PTAs have often been limited to fundraising roles rather than serving as meaningful partners in child protection, learning, health, and development. Notably, during the 19th Congress, House Bill number 9670 that covered the same subject matter was approved on third reading and transmitted to the Senate. Unfortunately, the Senate was unable to finish deliberation on the said bill until the end of the 19th Congress. Hence, these refiled bills. We will also deliberate today. Child support provides a clear and efficient administrative mechanism for the determination, collection, and enforcement of child support, particularly in simple and uncontested cases. It seeks to address the persistent problem of non-support by absentee or non-custodial parents while ensuring due process, accountability, and time assistance for children most in need. During the 19th Congress, House Bill 11559 on the same subject was approved on second reading, reflecting sustained legislative support for strengthening child support enforcement mechanisms. These proposed measures are anchored on the best interests of the child. Consistent with our obligations under the Constitution and the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. We look forward to a meaningful exchange of views today as we our senators to refine these bills and come up with a consolidated substitute legislation that would be responsive, enforceable, and child-centered legislation. Thank you for being with us as we continue our work to strengthen laws and systems that protect and promote the rights of the Filipino children. Let us now proceed with the discussions. COMSEC.
Yes, Your Honor, for today's first agenda, we have House Bill number 415 entitled Nationalizing and Youth Welfare Code, authored by Representatives Lani Mercado Revilla, Brian B. Revilla, Ramon Jolo B. Revilla III. Number 2, House Bill number 2972, entitled An Act Institutionalizing and Enhancing the Role of Parent-Teacher and Community Associations in Promoting the Welfare and Protecting the Rights of Children, amending for the purpose Presidential Decree number 603, otherwise known as the Child and Youth Welfare Code, authored by Representatives Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez, Yeda Marie K. Romualdez, Andrew Julian K. Romualdez, and Jude A. Asidre. And last but not least, House Bill number 4069, entitled An Act Institutionalizing and Enhancing the Role of Parent-Teacher and Community Associations in Promoting the Welfare and Protecting the Rights of Children, amending for the purpose Presidential Decree number 603, otherwise known as the Child and Youth Welfare Code, authored by Rep. Giselle Marie L. Maceda. That's all, Your Honor.
First, may I recognize the authors of the aforementioned bills, Representative Lani Mercado Revilla, for their sponsorship remarks. Alternatively, the authors may manifest to adopt their respective explanatory notes as their sponsorship remarks.
I have prepared the sponsorship speech, Madam Chair.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for for recognizing this representation. Madam Chair, and to the distinguished members of the Welfare of Children Committee, magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. We have accepted that the teacher is our child's second parent. In fact, during their waking hours, our learners spend more time at school than at home. However, learning is not confined within the four corners of the school. There is a bigger world out there, and our children must be ready to adapt to this concrete jungle. Our law has long recognized the pivotal role of Parent-Teacher Association, or the PTA, plays in the education of our youth. It is so true what they say, it takes a village to raise a child. Now the community must take an active role and participation in the ground implementation of the basic education programs of the Department of Education. Through increased collaboration and cooperation among stakeholders, likewise discuss issues, identify solutions, design, and recommend actions for a reliable and resilient future for the next generation. Ultimately, this has become more significant and pressing as we are finding our way out of an ongoing educational crisis. Madam Chair, civil society must now take up the cudgels in the education of our young, for they are its hope. The learners of today are the leaders of tomorrow. As nanay ng mga Bacoreño, I invite all of you that we ensure our children and grandchildren's bright future by the swift passage of this bill. Sama-sama tulong-tulong po tayo para sa kinabukasan ng ating mga kabataan at buong bayan. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Honorable Lani Mercado Revilla. Before we move on, I'd like to acknowledge one of our members, Representative Bella Vanessa Swansing. Welcome. For our next agenda, we shall now hear the respective positions of the agencies and organizations invited today.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sure.
since we still have two House bills on the same topic, House Bill number 2972 and House Bill number 4069, may I move that the explanatory notes of the measures be adopted as the sponsorship remarks of their respective authors.
So moved. Thank you. Let us proceed with the government agencies on their position papers. We shall start with the Council for the Welfare of Children. Is the representative from the Council for the Welfare of Children present? Okay, let's start with the Department of Social Welfare and Development. Is DSWD present today?
Hello, good afternoon po. From DSWD, DSWD supports the passage of this bill. We will just communicate the position paper. Thank you.
Okay, how about from the Department of Education?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and honorable members of the committee. On behalf of my colleagues here at DepEd, we'd like to recognize the valuable partnership among parents, teachers, the school, and the community. And as such, we manifest our support to the proposed bills. And pending the submission of our position paper, we'd like to summarize the salient points thereof. We recommend the amendments include and integrate the objectives of the Parent Effectiveness Service Program Act, as well as DepEd's recently launched Kaagapay program. This is in line with a whole-of-nation approach that upholds the best interests of children and protects the family as the fundamental unit of our society, recognizing their role in fostering a safe and positive learning environment and their contribution to nation building. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry, but can you state your name and position, please, in DepEd,
Yes.
just for record purposes?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Attorney Rizal Requesto, Director for at DepEd. Thank you.
Thank you. May we now hear from the Early Childhood Care and Development Council?
Good afternoon. I'm Ms. Maria Teresa O. Medina from the Early Childhood Care and Development Council, Program Officer, Development Officer 3. May I state our position? Parent-teacher conferences should be institutionalized as a mandatory and structured component of Child Development Center operations to strengthen family engagement, promote holistic child development, and support early identification of needs. Early childhood, 0 to 8 years old, is a critical stage for brain development, behavior formation, and socio-emotional growth. Parents are children's first teachers, while child development teachers and workers provide structured learning environments. When these two key influences do not coordinate regularly, children receive inconsistent guidance. Institutionalized PTCs ensure that development support is shared, intentional, and continuous. Thus, we recommend policy integration to institutional PTCs and CDCs, minimum standard conduct, at least 2 formal PTCs per school year, standardized tools, provide simple templates for child development progress, identify strengths and areas for support, and capacity building, train CDTs on effective and respectful communication, discussing sensitive developmental concerns, and culturally responsive engagement. And we also recommend flexible approaches, offer varied schedules or community-based options to accommodate working parents. Conclusion, institutionalizing parent-teacher conferences is a core quality strategy, not an added burden. It bridges home and school, strengthens partnerships, supports early intervention, and ensures that every child benefits from coordinated care. That will be all, at maraming salamat po.
Thank you. May we now hear from the non-government agencies, starting with the Child Rights Network, please?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and distinguished members of Congress. Isang makabatang araw po sa ating lahat. The Child Rights Network commends the efforts of the Committee on Welfare of Children to push for legislative measures that propose lasting solutions to synergize the home, school, and community environments. Please allow me to read excerpts of our position paper, and we'll send the official copy at a later date. Currently, several existing laws provide the legal basis for and explicitly mandate the establishment of parent-teacher associations, such as the Education Act of 1982, the Family Code of the Philippines, the Governance of Basic Education Act of 2001, and of course, the Child and Youth Welfare Code, or PD 603. However, despite these legal foundations, there has yet to be a legislation that meaningfully strengthens and institutionalizes the relationship among schools, parents, and local authorities for the purposes of advancing children's best interests. The bills proposed by the distinguished members of Congress seek to address these gaps by enhancing the role and capacity of these associations. There are 2 ways by which the proposed bill addresses these gaps. Firstly, the bill expands the PTA into the PTCA, or the Parent, Teachers, and Community Association, which affirms that the rearing, education, and holistic development of the child toward the full realization of their potential to be an empowered and transformative member of society is indeed a task for the entire community. Furthermore, the proposed bill ensures stronger cooperation and accountability of the parties involved because it requires parents who have children enrolled in schools to be members of the association. and as such, they must comply with the membership requirements. This is contrary to current legislation wherein participation is voluntary. We further commend the explicit encouragement of fathers and male caregivers to actively participate in PTCA activities, recognizing their vital role in child development. For these reasons, the Child Rights Network supports House Bills 415, 2972, and 4069. However, we strongly emphasize that every child has the right to express their views, feelings, and wishes in all matters affecting them, and to have their views considered and taken seriously. In this regard, we respectfully propose that the bill go beyond its current formulation, which tasks the PTCA to coordinate with student councils or to consult children at all times. Beyond consultation and coordination, we advocate for meaningful child representation within the PTCA itself. The PTCA should also support the preparatory consultations among students or their child representatives to enable them to genuinely reflect the collective views, concerns, and recommendations of children stakeholders. We also note that similar bills in the previous Congresses provided greater involvement in the association in local and municipal structures because it required the principal officers of the PTCA to be ex officio members of the local school board and legislative bodies under the local government code, thus affording wide latitude for the association to work with authorities, as it allows them to design, plan, implement, and monitor programs, projects, and activities designed to promote the welfare and protect the rights of children. We encourage the body, therefore, to revisit and consider reinstating this provision in the current version of the bill. Ultimately, a policy grounded in the shared responsibility of parents, teachers, and the community is indispensable to nurturing well-rounded, resilient, stable, and socially engaged children. Strengthening PTCAs, while ensuring a meaningful participation of children themselves, moves us closer to building education communities that truly place the best interests of the child at the center of governance and decision-making. We thank the committee for welcoming our recommendations.
Thank you. May we now hear from Save the Children Philippines?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Save the Children Philippines fully support the bills on the PTCA. As a matter of fact, we have already extensively participated in the crafting of this bill, which was approved on third reading in the 19th Congress. We would like to emphasize the importance of PTCA as partners in children's development and the extension of PTCAs to cover ECCD. We would also like to emphasize the role that PTCA can play in the development of school-based mental health programs, which was approved under the Basic Education and Mental Health Act. And we support the recognition of child participation in the development of programs, implementation of activities, and also in the special provision encouraging fathers and male caregivers to participate in matters affecting their children that are related to school and communities. We will be submitting a very detailed recommendation in the position paper that is at the moment for approval. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. But can we have your name and position, please, for record purposes?
Attorney Emma Salmani, Manager, Advocacy Campaigns and Communications.
Okay, thank you. Next, can we hear from the National Parent-Teacher Associations?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maria Regina Sibal from the National Parent-Teacher Association. The National Parent-Teacher Association Federation fully supports the filing of the House bills that concern the institutionalization of the Parent-Teacher Association and the Parent-Teacher Community Associations. As we recognize that there are many laws and policies already at the national departmental level that support the child, there is still a need to further institutionalize and standardize added support for children. There are current challenges as the PTA is under the Department of Education, but we recognize a need for interagency coordination as the child is not just limited to those enrolled into the school system. And we acknowledge and appreciate the inclusion of the ECCD and the DSWD into the picture. But we also want to emphasize the need to integrate the support of the local government units, as the local school boards also provide budgets for the school system in support of school health and other programs. The LSB has been as one that provide and also other than that is to provide other mechanisms for other stakeholder consultation that would strengthen the need to identify the need of the children on health, education, and development. As we want to institutionalize the PTA, we hope that there is also an inclusion of the establishment of PTA or PTCAs within the daycare of child development centers, and also strengthen it at the different governance levels, at the municipal, local, and national levels. As the PTA currently faces a lot of challenges, parents, teachers, and the community, there are other salient points that we have provided in our position paper. But with this, we want to emphasize also provisions on institutionalizing capacity building of parents and the community, providing budget and also providing support by the different government agencies so that they can best support the children, and not only to the parents, but also provisions on student mentoring and community mentoring to provide the best support for the children. And as well, other provisions that we have cited in our position paper is also to provide protection of the PTA and PTCA. Other than the protection is also added mechanisms to institutionalize accountability and grievance mechanisms so that this can further address current problems in bureaucracy and other political things that the PTA currently has, including overstaying officers, the influence of school heads in the institutionalization of the PTA. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All duly noted. May we also hear from the PTA Advocates Philippines, if they are here. Is there any other agency?
We recommend consolidation of all related bills with House Bill numbers 469 adopted as the primary reference. This specific bill underscores the inclusion of community members and local stakeholders, recognizing the shared responsibility in safeguarding the holistic developmental needs of children, both within and beyond the school environment. To ensure consistency, the term of parent, teacher, and community association shall be initialized as PTCA in all instances. Second, the CWC respectfully recommends including a precise definition of children to provide clarity in light of the various national laws. We proposed defining children as persons below 18 years of age or those older who are unable to fully care or protect themselves due to physical and mental disability, as defined under RA 7610 and RA 11650. Furthermore, we advocate for preserving the integrity of parental authority as defined under Presidential Decree 603. Third, we strongly advocate for strengthening the child protection mechanisms by mandating the integration of educational sessions on positive discipline and corporal punishment within PTCA initiatives in accordance with DepEd Order Number 40. Additionally, the proposed school development program for children should be clearly defined as a structured framework designed to foster the intellectual, emotional, moral, and social capacities of the child. To ensure safety, only duly licensed and accredited children's organizations should be authorized to engage with children under these programs. Fourth, to ensure the enforceability of these measures, We recommend replacing the term encourage with shall in Section 4, while encourage constitute only a recommendation without binding force, shall imposes a mandatory obligation and carries the full weight of enforceable rules. Furthermore, we advocate that community associations be vested with formal participatory and decision-making rights within the local school board, rather than serving merely as an ex officio member without voting power. Finally, the CWC recommends integrating the Makabata program and Makabata Helpline 1383 as a vital feedback mechanism for child protection. The multiple format helpline ensures that the children, parents, and community members have easy access to express concerns and seek answers. We also urge the PTCA to explicitly extend its reinforcement to vulnerable groups, including children with disabilities, children in street situations, and those affected by armed conflict and humanitarian crisis. We will submit our position paper po once it is signed by our executive director, and we recommend po this legislative measure, and we acknowledge the efforts put into this. Magandang hapon po. Salamat.
Thank you very much. We'd like to acknowledge Representative Karen Hope Garcia from the 3rd District of Cebu, as well as Representative Edwin Cruzado from the 1st District of Cotabato. Do the bill's authors or members of this committee wish to ask any questions to the resource persons or wish to make any comments?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to siguro provide some perspective also on the proposed bills and highlight some of the comments reflected by our resource persons. So basically, initially PTA is under DepEd, but now we of course want to expand it not only from under DepEd, but also ECCD, which is Early Childhood Care and Development. So there will be 2 agencies involved in the crafting of the IRR. Second, we also have the local council for the protection of children in the LGUs, which probably would compose a similar membership. So maybe we should also harmonize and recognize the possible redundancy and see the independent roles of each council. I also agree that the local school board has a very important role from barangay to municipality and province, where the Parent-Teacher Association representative, the federation, the federal president, sits as a member. But this only covers DepEd. Also, I think it was the SWD or our resource person from DepEd who mentioned the importance of the Parent Effectiveness Act that we passed in, I think, 2022, where we really need also to ensure that our parents, in terms of capacity building, as suggested earlier, are supported so that they can protect, that we ensure the protection of children as well. So, and lastly, the Supreme Government, the School Governing Council, where PTA, the parent, is a member of, where it's more of the policy making and the performance of the children in schools. So I'm just thinking maybe if we can all request our resource persons to immediately submit their position papers so that we can incorporate in the bills that is being heard today. So I just wanted to, hopefully we can harmonize everything, avoid redundancy, but really see how the importance of this bill is carried with our final draft. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Garcia. Is there any other member that would like to ask questions or make any comments? Yes, go ahead.
Ma'am, just an inquiry, Madam Chair, with regards to the Parent-Teacher Association Federation.
I understand that there are some schools who require membership fees in order to be members of the Parent-Teacher Council or the PTA. Is there such a rule regarding that?
Under the rules of the Department of Education, PTA fees are not allowed. In fact, collection in the public school level, any collection
is not actually allowed under the DepEd policies.
I think the collection of PTA fees are to a certain extent done in the private school level. Yes, but I think that would be based also on agreements between the parents and the schools.
So how would you like to entertain that particular idea?
Since there are two different rules here, iba sa public school at iba sa private school.
Can I add something, ma'am? Ang private school po, they need to follow the DepEd guidelines. But the problem is, for example, now, it's very timely that we need to have a PTCA law, no? Kasi nga po, napakadali pong hindi po nasusunod yung ating PD 603, especially some of the schools are now hindi nila pinapayagang magkaroon ng PTA sa schools. Especially ngayon, ang fundraising kasi before was for PTA. So ngayon po, ang nangyayari ngayon is school organized fundraising na po ang nangyayari. So nawawala na po ang PTA. The history of PTA kasi natin, since nag-start, meron po ang tawag po sa atin is PTCA, Parent Teacher Student Community Association, and without the law, in 2009, ginawa siyang PTA. Ginawa ang doon sa Cagayan de Oro, so lahat ng mga taga-NCR na marurunong ng PTA, hindi po nila sinama. So nagkaroon po tayo ng reklamo sa DOJ. So ang nangyari po, na-dismiss yung petition na ibalik ang PTCA. So hanggang ngayon din po ngayon. So marami po tayo mga pinasang mga petition letter, at actually ang National PTA po ang nagpa-amend ng DO 54 from 10 pages, nagawa na po namin omnibus guidelines for 70 pages. So ang po dito is marami pa rin po tayong petition na talaga pong we send it to the committee, and then we will send more, and hopefully ma-approve po natin yung ating PTCA law.
Madam Chair, the reason why I asked, because I got feedback that there are private schools still collecting association dues in order to be used as seed fund for the PTA, unlike public schools that membership is totally free. I was just wondering if we can get a suggestion from the private schools whether you would want to still implement this or not.
Meron po kaming proposal sa DepEd, maybe sa inyo po, to amend the local government code, inclusion of private school PTA sa school board, and CSO PTA or the PTCA kung hindi i-recognize ang DepEd, and also with the PTA Federation. So makikita po yan dyan kasi nga po yung ating Special Education Fund, ang nakakakita lang po niyan is ang ating mga federation president, and it's not disseminated, no? Pati po mga teachers natin at mga stakeholders, hindi po sila nakakakita ng special education fund, and they don't know anything about that, no? So ngayon kapag nakita po natin dito sa ngayon ang SEF, so madali po makapag-adjust ang PTA, especially po sa ngayon po we would also like to suggest na mag-issue, especially talaga pong importante, ng resibo sa mga koleksyon ng ating public school, especially yung DepEd organized fundraising, and also po dun sa nangyayari po kasi sa sa ating private school, hindi po masyadong namomonitor ng DepEd. So, kailangan po lahat talaga, in every collection or voluntary man or compulsory, is meron pong resibo.
Thank you. All duly noted.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
To continue, the Chair will now entertain a motion to consolidate the bills and prepare the corresponding committee report for the consolidated substitute bill for approval in the next hearing.
I so move, Madam Chair.
There being no objection, the motion is carried. Also, with the indulgence of the authors, is there a motion to include all members present as co-authors?
I so move also, Madam Chair.
No problem, Madam Chair.
There being no objection, the subsequent motion is also carried. Before we go into our deliberation of the next act, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of our Representative Rene Luisco from the Kabataan Party List, as well as Representative Roman Romulo of the Lone District, City of Pasig. Let us now proceed with the next item in the agenda, which is the Child Support Responsibility Act. COMSEC, kindly read for the record the measures for deliberation.
Yes, Your Honor. House Bill number 21, entitled An Act Ensuring Child Support and Penalizing Parental Refusal or Neglect Thereof, authored by Representative Nico Raul S.J. Daza. House Bill number 778, entitled An Act Ensuring Child Support and Penalizing Parental Refusal or Neglect Thereof, authored by Representative Maria Victoria Copilar. House Bill number 1031, entitled An Act Ensuring Child Support and Penalizing Parental Refusal or Neglect Thereof, authored by Representative Robert Nasal. House Bill number 1560, entitled An Act Mandating the Department of Social Welfare and Development to adjudicate and enforce claims for child support through an administrative process and strengthening Title 8 support under the Family Code of the Philippines, authored by Representative Walfredo Arman de Maguila Jr. House Bill number 2462, entitled An Act Establishing a National Child Support Enforcement System under the Department of Social Welfare and Development, defining child support as a legally enforceable obligation, prescribing mechanisms for its determination, collection, and enforcement, and for other purposes, authored by Representative Gurley Veloso. House Bill number 2965, entitled An Act Ensuring Child Support and Penalizing Parental Refusal or Neglect Thereof, authored by Representatives Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez, Yeda Marie K. Romualdez, Andrew Julian K. Romualdez, and Jude Asidre. House Bill number 4070, entitled An Act Ensuring Child Support and Penalizing Parental Refusal or Neglect Thereof, authored by Representative Giselle Marie L. Maceda. House Bill number 4960, entitled An Act Punishing the Willful Failure to Pay Paternal Child Support, authored by Representatives Edvic G. Yap and Eric Go Yap. And lastly, House Bill number 4962, entitled An Act Ensuring Child Support and Penalizing Parental Refusal or Neglect Thereof, authored by Representatives Edvic G. Yap and Eric Go Yap. That's all, Your Honor.
Thank you, COMSEC. May I recognize the authors of the aforementioned bills, Representative Daza, for their sponsorship remarks.
Salamat, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, distinguished members of the committee, and to our esteemed resource persons, maupay nga kulop sa iyong atanan. I'm honored to sponsor House Bill number 21, an act ensuring support and penalizing parental refusal or neglect thereof, otherwise known as the Child Support Responsibility Act, or my personal favorite, the Anti-Balusubas Act. This measure is anchored on a simple but fundamental principle. No child should suffer deprivation because a parent refuses or neglects to provide support. Child support is not optional, and it does not end with separation or personal conflict. It is a continuing legal and moral obligation owed to the child. Allow me to place on record, as mentioned by our chairwoman earlier during her opening remarks, that this is a refiled measure. In the previous Congress, this bill underwent extensive deliberations and successfully passed on third reading in the House of Representatives. I'm refiling it in the 20th Congress to carry forward that momentum and to finally institutionalize a comprehensive and enforceable child support system. House Bill number 21 strengthens enforcement by establishing clear mechanisms for monitoring compliance, facilitating regular and timely child support, and providing coordinated assistance through relevant government agencies. while fully respecting due process and existing laws. More importantly, this bill recognizes that child support is a child welfare issue, not merely a private dispute between parents. It squarely falls within the mandate of this committee to ensure that the best interests of the child are always upheld. Madam Chair and distinguished colleagues, passing this measure sends a clear message. We will not turn a blind eye when children are left unsupported. I look forward to the inputs of our resource persons and to a constructive discussion that will further strengthen this bill. Damang salamat, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Daza. May we also hear from the Honorable Victoria Copilar for her sponsorship remarks.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and dear colleagues. I am here to speak for the millions of Filipino children who are being left behind, literally and financially. I am sponsoring House Bill number 778, or the Child Support Responsibility Act. Alam niyo po, we have about 15 million solo parents in the Philippines. According to the World Health Organization, ang masaklap, almost 95% of them are women who carry the entire burden alone. Marami sa ating mga kababayan parang optional na lang kung magbigay ng sustento. Our current system to demand child support is time-consuming and emotionally draining. In the 19th Congress, we spent time in technical working groups, TWG, polishing this. Pakinggan natin ang DSWD, the legal experts, the solo parents themselves. We are not reinventing the wheel. We are refiling a measure that has already been vetted and refined. In the state, it is the state's duty to be ultimate guardian of our children under the principle of parents patria. Kapag ang isang magulang ay tumalikod sa obligasyon, gobyerno ang dapat tumayong boses ng bata. House Bill number 778 gives our laws real teeth. Direct deduction sa sahod para wala ng takasan. No support, no license. We will link compliance to the renewal of passport and driver's licenses. Number 3, empowering the DSWD to handle these cases para hindi na kailangang dumaan sa mahal at matagal na proseso sa korte. My dear colleagues, child support is not a favor. It is a right. It's time we hold deathbed parents accountable. Huwag na nating hayaang matulog muli ito sa komite. Let's give our solo parents a backup they've been praying for. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Copilar. Moving on, we shall now hear the respective positions.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Honorable Garcia.
May I move that the explanatory notes of House Bills 1031, 2462, 2965, 4070, 4960, and 4962 be adopted as the sponsorship remarks of their respective authors. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Motion is carried. May we now hear from the respective positions of the agencies and organizations that we invited today. Beginning with the government agencies, please remember to state your name and position, and kindly limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Let us start with Is the Bureau of Immigration here? Is there a representative?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. I am Attorney Arnulfo D. Maminta from the Legal Division, Attorney 3, Bureau of Immigration. We fully support all the pending bills, and it would be of great help if we will involve the Bureau of Immigration much more than what was written in the bills, because it would appear that we are only we will only implement after these things, after prohibitions from the use of the passports. Otherwise, the more effective thing would be the issuance of the whole departure orders. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Can we hear from the Civil Service Commission, if they are here? Next, the Council for the Welfare of Children. May we hear from you, please?
Magandang hapon po muli from the Council for the Welfare of Children. In drafting our position, we emphasized on the UNCRC, specifically on the mandates about the best interest of the child, recognition of the parents' primary responsibility for raising their children, and the right of every child to an adequate standard of living, which basically ensures shelter, clothing, medical care, education, and transportation, which define a holistic sense towards a child's development and not just merely providing a discretionary gift. The CWC respectfully recommends the use of children as defined in RA 7610. We recommend and highlight House Bill number 1031, specifically Section 17, Information Dissemination. The inclusion of CWC in Section 17 of House Bill 1031 is essential because it aligns the bill's implementation with the CWC's unique mandate as a policy-making coordinating body for children's rights. By involving CWC in information dissemination, the law ensures that child support is framed out not merely as a financial dispute between parents, but as a fundamental human rights necessary for the child's survival and, of course, development. This partnership allows for a multi-sectoral approach where the CWC can harmonize the efforts of various agencies, such as the DILG for local government and the DepEd for educational awareness. Likewise, the establishment of the National Child Support Program for the specific House bills which provides for the establishment of the NCSP. The CWC recommends the establishment of the NCSP as a direct fulfillment of its mandate to coordinate and monitor the implementation of laws that protect child's rights and welfare. By participating as in a consultative role, the CWC aligns the NCSP with the primary function ensuring that all government agencies, such as the enforcement of financial support obligations, prioritize the best interest of the child as a standard policy. Furthermore, the CWC will view the NCSP as a critical extension of its advocacy for solo parents and vulnerable households, effectively transforming the state's role into that of parents patriae to safeguard the physical, mental, and social development of the children. Likewise, we will mention on the importance of citing House Bill 1560. This bill effectively moves child support from a private dispute between parents into the realm of public protection of a child's human rights. For House Bill number 2462, the establishment of the National Child Support Enforcement Bureau, or the NCSEB, the CWC commends this provision as it establishes a governance framework that mandates coordination across various government agencies. This would ensure that the implementation of this act would have the full force of multiple government agencies. In conclusion, the CWC recommends the consolidation of the House bills as a definitive step towards fulfilling the state's mandate of parents patriae. By unifying these measures, the final bill will bridge the gap between policy and practice, ensuring that the child's right to support encompassing health, education, and dignity is no longer a mere legal promise but a protected reality. We urge the swift passage of this consolidated bill to secure a future where no Filipino child is left vulnerable to economic neglect. Magandang hapon po at maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat. We would like to acknowledge one of our vice chairs, Honorable Floribel Yatco from Nanay Party List. Can we now hear from the Department of Education for their position?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and honorable members of the committee. I'm Attorney Rizal Requesto, Director at the Department of Education. And on behalf of my colleagues at the DepEd, we would like to manifest our overall support for the proposed bills. And pending the submission of our position paper within the week, I would just like to summarize the salient points therein. We find the proposed bills are aligned and supported by existing laws and issuances. But we do recommend that a clearance or certification from the school where the child is enrolled be required as an additional measure to ensure support is indeed used for the rearing support, sustenance, and upkeep of the child. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have a representative from the Department of Justice? Let's move on first to the Department of Social Welfare and Development.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jocelyn Vince Cruz from the Protective Services Bureau of the SWD. Pending the submission of our official position paper, the DSWD support the passage of these bills. And to include in the position paper are the specific comments indicated in the proposed bills. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the representative from the Department of Justice available for their position?
We're from Department of Justice, Office of Cybercrime. Pending the submission of the DOJ's official position paper, the Department of Justice, Office of Cybercrime expresses its general support for the proposed House bill aimed at protecting the rights and welfare of children, subject to further review, of course, and to their consistency with existing laws. Thank you.
Thank you. May we hear from the Department of Interior and Local Government?
To the Honorable Chairperson and members of the committee, good afternoon. At the outset, the Department fully supports the legislative intent behind the proposed legislative measures, which seek to mandate child support by institutionalizing a comprehensive and effective enforcement system that will ensure that every parent provides support regardless of employment status. This underscores the constitutional mandate on the state's policy for children's welfare and protection by addressing the existing gap in the current legal mechanism of enforcing child support obligations. Relative thereto, may we respectfully manifest the following initial comments and recommendations pending finalization of our position paper for consideration of the Honorable Committee. First is we support the establishment of the National Child Support Program, which aims to serve as a robust mechanism to enable an interagency collaboration in facilitating child support cases and enforcing claims arising therefrom. As to its implementation, specifically on whether a new office or bureau shall be created for such program, it may be considered during deliberation the possible overlapping of functions with the existing national agencies tasked with the protection and promotion of the rights and welfare of children. The Honorable Committee may also take into account the alignment of the NCSP with current local child protection mechanisms, such as the local councils for the protection of children, which has the mandate to coordinate child welfare and protection interventions. Upon harmonization of the proposed measures, it is likewise respectfully recommended to provide a clear delineation of roles and functions of the LGUs, adequate capacity building, and provision of national government support to ensure effective implementation. Lastly, for having the same purpose, intent, and subject matter, these bills may be considered for consolidation. With the indulgence of the committee, may we respectfully seek permission to submit a position paper on the subject legislative measures in order to allow sufficient time to consult with the relevant bureaus and to carefully review each bill and thereafter provide comprehensive legal and technical inputs for the committee's consideration. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you. And for the record, can we have your name, please, and your position within DILG?
Good afternoon po, Madam Chair. I'm Attorney Nicole Bokiren from the ILG Legal and Legislative Liaison Service.
Thank you.
Thank you po.
Can we now hear from the Early Childhood Care and Development Council?
Okay, magandang hapon po muli. Ako po si Ms. Tessa Medina from the Early Childhood Care and Development Council. May I read to you our position paper? The Early Childhood Care and Development Council affirms that all children are rights holders, entitled to protection, care, and development, regardless of their parents' marital or family status. However, children of separated parents and solo parents remain vulnerable to economic deprivation and social neglect due to weak enforcement of child support obligations. The proposed Child Support Responsibility Act aims to address this gap by enhancing the enforcement of child support and connecting affected families to essential social services. From an ECCD perspective, consistent financial and socio-emotional support is vital in the early years. Inadequate support negatively affects children's nutrition, health, access to early learning, and socio-emotional development, limiting their ability to benefit from ECCD programs and services fully. Effective child support mechanisms are, therefore, not only legal measures, but essential interventions to safeguard children's holistic development. The ECCD Council supports the objective of ensuring systematic enforcement of child support obligations and reducing the burden on solo parents, and explicitly acknowledges the DSWD stand in assessing whether the creation of a separate office is feasible or whether child support functions may be effectively integrated into existing programs and structures. At the same time, the Council recognizes the DSWD's need to assess institutional feasibility, resource availability, and operational sustainability. The ECCD Council affirms the importance of strengthening child support mechanisms to ensure that all children, especially those from vulnerable family situations, enjoy equal access to early childhood care and development services. The Council stands ready to collaborate with the DSWD and other stakeholders to adopt an institutional approach that is both feasible and responsive to the developmental needs of Filipino children. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat. May we now hear from the National Bureau of Investigation?
We have not prepared the position paper. It's still under review by our legal department because we only received the invitation last Friday afternoon. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Can we hear from the Philippine National Police?
Madam Chair, good afternoon. The Philippine National Police expresses its support for the proposed measures which seek to establish a clear and enforceable mechanism for the determination and implementation of child support obligations in furtherance of the state's duty to protect the welfare and best interests of children. While the obligation to provide support is already recognized under existing laws, enforcement remains largely dependent on lengthy judicial processes. This often results in delayed or unfulfilled support and creates operational challenges in handling complaints involving parental abandonment and neglect. The proposed creation of a National Child Support Office under the Department of Social Welfare and Development, vested with quasi-judicial authority, provides a specialized and accessible mechanism to assist in locating non-custodial parents and establish paternity and filiation, issue support orders, and enforce compliance through lawful means. From a law enforcement perspective, this measure clarifies parental responsibilities. Timely and adequate support contributes to a child's stability and development, enabling children to grow into more balanced and productive members of society. This, in turn, supports crime prevention and promotes long-term social order. The Philippine National Police appreciates the opportunity to express its support for these measures and will submit its official position paper once signed by the Chief Philippine National Police. We thank the committee for soliciting our recommendations. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. May we now hear from the Child Rights Network?
Thank you again, and good afternoon again, Madam Chair. The Child Rights Network commends the efforts of the Committee on Welfare of Children once again, and in pushing for legislative measures that ensure Filipino children receive the support that is integral to their development and survival. We echo the sentiments mentioned earlier that the bills are in line with the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child that affirm that in all actions concerning children, the best interests of the child shall be a primary consideration. Furthermore, we affirm the prior sentiments that the realities on the ground, such as the difficulty to enforce the law when the parent is uncooperative, the high cost and slow litigation at the court level, the lack of awareness on legal remedies among parents, and the lack of fixed amount of support prove that whatever current legal framework we have at the moment is not enough to address the needs of Filipino children and families. Furthermore, as mentioned earlier, there is a heavy burden on the women who make up 95% of solo parents, and there is a heavy evidentiary burden under RA 9262 to prove that the perpetrator acted with the purpose of controlling or restricting the woman or her child's movement or conduct. With that said, the Child Rights Network supports House Bills 21, 778, 1031, 1560, 2462, 2965, 4960, and 4962 with a few reservations. For House Bill 4070, we would like to inquire about the rationale behind repealing Republic Act No. 7883, or the Barangay Health Workers Benefits and Incentives Act of 1995, as stated in Section 20. We firmly believe that the benefits and incentives provided to barangay health workers should be increased, taking into account inflation, to ensure that they have a decent standard of living. Thus, CRN will not support the repeal of RA 7883. Going back to our suggestions, we have 4. The first, on strengthening safety mechanisms, we emphasize the need for safety mechanisms that prioritize support. We propose that non-custodial parents who receive government support for employment, livelihood, financial assistance, and skills training programs, as outlined in some versions of the bill, also face penalties at the first instance of failing to provide child support. This is because it is presumed that they have already been equipped and capacitated to fulfill this responsibility. Furthermore, we propose stricter penalties on parents who disregard their obligations to provide child support, as this serves as a deterrent to encourage them to fulfill their responsibilities to ensure their child's well-being. Secondly, on enforcing the principle of equitability, we propose that equitability should be a guiding principle in prioritizing non-custodial parent recipients. Specifically, potential recipients who have not yet received any such training or support should be given the priority. We have also noted that there may be instances where the non-custodial parent or the potential recipient of government support also has a history of abuse, which raises concerns about whether they will be included in this provision. Thirdly, on further harmonization with Republic Act No. 9262, we raise that the availing, issuance, and enforcement of support orders, as stated in some versions of the bill, should be made available as well without prejudice to availing of protection orders as may be necessary in accordance with Republic Act No. 9262 or the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act. Fourth and finally, on the difficulty of enforcing quote-unquote willful failure, we suggest that willful should not be used as a qualifier for the non-custodial parent's failure to provide child support. The difficulty of proving the intent to deny the custodial parent and the child of support makes enforcement challenging. This becomes particularly problematic if a criminal case for willful failure to pay child support under this act is filed. While we acknowledge that there may be prior jurisprudence requiring this high burden of proof, especially for RA 9262, we maintain that laws should provide safe, effective, and accessible avenues for justice. The heavy evidentiary burden of proving intent may deter solo parents, especially the 95% of women who are among the population of solo parents, from pursuing legal remedies. And this further allows economically abusive behavior to be more pervasive and difficult to stop. Once again, we thank the committee for welcoming our inputs, and we look forward to more collaborations. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. That will be all.
Thank you. All duly noted. Perhaps we can have those in discussion later after we hear from everybody. Lastly, may we hear from Save the Children Philippines?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am Attorney Emma Salmani, Advocacy Campaigns and Communications Manager of Save the Children Philippines. Save the Children Philippines support the proposed creation of the Child Support Responsibility Act bill. We would just like to seek clarification. Will the bills amend the provision in the Family Code on obtaining child support, or the bills wherein this is an administrative child support mechanism will just supplement the provisions of the Family Code? We would like to suggest that this be clarified, and we will submit our detailed position in a position paper that will be submitted in the next few days. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We can have one of the authors, Honorable Copelar, to respond.
Madam Chair, we do not intend to amend what is stated already in the Family Code, but it will be just a supplemental law for especially for solo parents claims.
Thank you. Did we miss out on any agency that would like to give their position? If not, I would like to open the floor for questions, comments, clarifications from any of the members of the committee.
Madam Chair, just a short manifestation. I fully support the measures for the Child Support Responsibility Act, as well as the parent, teacher, and community associations. I commend all the authors and request for co-authorship. Thank you.
Duly noted.
Madam Chair, may I ask our resource person from DSWD, because we recently passed the Solo Parents Act, where I think it's very related to what we're talking about now, which is, do we already have an indication? Kong Daza mentioned the 14 million affected children, but have we implemented the Solo Parents Act? Do we have a registry already? Because I think this is linked with the bills being proposed. And how are we implementing it so that we know that we could ensure the implementation of the child support law? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Can we hear from DSWD, please?
Yes, good afternoon again. As to the number of registered solo parents, based on our report as of December 31, we have 192,645 registered solo parents as of December 31. The DSWD is currently coming up with a national database wherein the solo parents will be file or apply for a solo parent ID po ng parang through online. Currently, the DSWD is pilot testing the database in LGUs Manila, Mandaluyong, Muntinlupa, Cainta, and Rodriguez Rizal. So we are waiting for the result of that pilot testing, and we will enhance the system based on the feedback from the LGUs. And later on, we will implement the nationwide application of unified ID, solo parent ID, in the next few months.
Madam Chair. Go ahead, please.
Just a follow-up, Kong Diok. No? So our solo parent registry, this should be complete with the children, no? With the parent, the custodial parents, children and ages, and then we are also, the Solo Parents Act kasi parang mandates DSWD to support with all the other national government agencies to support the solo parent so that the solo parent can support the children. May I ask more or less, do we have a budget that we have allocated for for this kind of assistance?
If you are referring to the subsidy, ma'am, is that it? For the solo parents, actually, ma'am, sa LGU po siya. So we are communicating with the DILG to help the DSWD in mandating the local government units to provide subsidy for the solo parents. So as of now, not all LGUs are providing subsidies pa po. So ilang LGUs
Ang meron lang pong subsidy, if okay lang po, i-double check po kung
ilan pong LGUs yung nagpo-provide so far ng subsidy. And not all LGUs are parang nagpo-provide po ng kasi ang required po under the law is 1,000, minimum of 1,000, I think. Meron po so far sa ngayon na 500 monthly po yung naipo-provide because of yung fund limitation din po.
Last, Madam Chair, with the indulgence of Kong Diok. No? So, in the proposed bill, there's going to be set up an office, the National Child Support Office, no, under the DSWD, and it only goes up to the regional level. So, parang my assumption is based on the Solo Parents Act, where we will have a registry, where the solo parent applies with a municipal or city social welfare and development office, and this will be coordinated with the regional office. And the monitoring component, as per the bill, is the regional office. So, Madam Chair, I'm just siguro checking if DSWD, in fact, will have that commitment and to monitor all the solo parents, the child support that's needed, if it is given, not given, and how to set that child support on a per family, per child basis. So I just wanted to see how DSWD thinks is crafting how to implement this bill.
With regards to the implementation, ma'am, of tama po ba ako naintindi? The implementation po nung...
The bill proposes a setup of an office, central and regional, to handle what is tasked. So I'm just wondering if on the practical side, if the regional office can, in fact, monitor such a huge requirement.
Maybe, ma'am, in coordination with the DILG, kasi po, yun po yung actually challenge po, no, sa DSWD, since ang implementation po nung sa solo parent, in relation to solo parent is the LGUs po. So nakikipag-ugnayan po kami with the DILG. So dito naman po sa child support, kung sakali pong maging batas po siya, siguro ma'am, isa po yun sa mga titingnan kung paano po i-implement at pati po yung pag-monitor po.
Yes. Well, in fact, so I will just reply, since this is from the 19th Congress pa. Well, in fact, the DSWD already committed that they will put up an office for this. However, ang naging problem lang yung magmaman ng office, because this will be like, sino ba yung, kasi chinek namin sino ba yung laging naghihingi ng child support? Diba? Ito yung mga solo parent. Ito yung naghihiwalay. Ngayon, the logic why this bill was created. Kasi yung mga solo parent, hindi naman nakiklaim yan ng daan-daang milyon piso So we wanted this office para doon sa mga indigent na hiwalay, na ina-abandon yung mga anak nila, tapos hindi binibigyan ng support. So dito rin sa bill, it is stated that after 2 weeks ng pag-file mo sa DSWD, sa sa National Responsibility Act Office o Child Support Office, dapat meron ng desisyon at dapat makapagbigay na ng support yung it's either yung tatay or yung nanay. So ito yung understanding namin during the 19th Congress, during the technical working group, the TWG.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Honorable Jokno, you have the floor.
I understand that the Philippine Statistics Authority collects data on solo parents. That's pursuant to the Expanded Solo Parents Act. I'm just not sure if we have a representative from the PSA here, because they would be able to answer Congresswoman Garcia's question, I think. I'm also wondering if DSWD does coordination with the PSA on the CBMS, kasi dun pong, it's from the CBMS, the community-based monitoring system, that information is being obtained.
DSWD, would you like to reply?
Ma'am, Your Honor, regarding po dun sa registration po ng solo parent, ang basis po namin is the submission from the local government units kasi sila po talaga, sa kanila po nag-a-apply ang mga solo parents ng solo parent ID. So that is the basis po nung kung ilan po yung registered solo parents po nationwide. Kasi there may be solo parents po na solo parents po sila pero meron po silang certain criteria na hindi po nila nami-meet kung kaya hindi po sila nare-register. Based on the RA 11861, di ba po, there are certain qualification po, no? Isa nga po dun sa napansin din po namin sa dito po sa child support bills, yun pong kasama po sa eligible po na pwede pong mag-claim ng child support are the solo parents. Sa 11861 po kasi, the solo parent should be, based on the law, is providing sole parental care and support. So kapag po nag-avail na po sila dito sa child support, kung sakali pong mag-grant po yung kanilang claims, no? Pagkakaroon lang po ng konting inconsistency with the RA 11861 kasi parang lalabas po na kapag may support na po sila, no, meron na po silang support from the other parent, maaring hindi na rin po sila mag-qualify under 11861. So that would be part of our comment po later dun sa isasubmit po namin na position paper. Initial observation po. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have other questions from our members?
Madam Chair, I'd like to ask, what about children of parents who are minors themselves? What do the bills say on how the state should proceed in these situations?
If the parents are minor, of course they have to may parental guardian pa rin sila, no? Yung parents pa rin nila will be the one, the grandparents pala. The grandparents naman will be the one appealing sa DSWD. It's not court. Kasi actually the very logic of this bill is to do away with court procedures. Kasi kung yung tatay ay construction worker, tapos yung nanay ay labandera, nagkahiwalay sila, iiwan sa nanay yung mga bata, tapos magkano yung kinikita ng isang construction worker, a-apply mo pa ba sa korte yung financial support para sa mga bata? Diba? Ang nangyayari, so doon pa lang sa National NCS Support Office, doon pa lang naayos na para hindi namimihasa yung mga lalaki na aalis lang, iiwan sa nanay yung mga bata dahil di naman makakapagdemanda, It's either sa barangay lang sila pupunta, magdedemanda, then after nila magdemanda, hindi rin nila susundin. Etong bill na to, binibigyan niya ng ngipin. Kasi like I mentioned a while ago, at least sa 778 bill, it's either in driver's license niya kukunin, or may penalty, or automatic, kakaltasan yung sahod niya, etc. 14 years old below. Oo. Alin? Yung parent. With the guidance na rin ng tatay tsaka nanay niya, yung grandparents nung apo.
But you don't take away the license or the passport of the grandparents?
No. Siguro sa IRR na lang yun. Oo. Pero ako, ang wisdom lang naman talaga ng bill is for that reason, to support, child support.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do we have other questions? Yes, Honorable Lani Mercado.
Yes, my question is to the authors of the said bills. It seems that this law will be for indigent. So the Solo Parent Act is for indigent solo parents alone. Will this bill answer for a double compensation for the solo parent who are indigents as well? O parang lalabas, for example, solo parent na nga ako, I'm entitled to a 500 peso monthly or a 1,000 peso monthly allowance coming from my local government unit. My husband will not give monthly support. Will I still be eligible to get from this, based on this House bill, if ever? Will I still be eligible to get help?
Well, to be clear, actually, the one who's asking for support is not the parents, it's the child, yung bata, So, hindi naman siya double compensation kasi subsidy ng gobyerno yun, Ito yung support niya monthly bilang magulang sa anak niya. So, hindi suporta ng gobyerno sa isang solo parent. Oo. Iba yun. Magkaiba siya. Administrative child support. It is already enumerated in Section 9.
Just to clarify, yung determination of paternity is a judicial process if disputed. So what we're saying is, hindi na ngayon judicial process. Because kung hindi disputed, walang problema, pwedeng admin yun. But if it is disputed, what I remember, it's a judicial process.
Tama. Pwede lang dito sa
pag hindi disputed.
Pag hindi disputed. Pag medyo okay naman, clear na siya ay tatay,
Yes.
may marriage contract, siya ay maayos, sila nagsama, dito pwede dumiretso na. Hindi na tayo pumunta ng korte. Diretso na tayo dito.
Basta non-disputed.
Oo,
So, kunyari,
non-disputed.
as you said kanina, yung example mo is a construction worker, di ba? Sinabi nung spouse, siya yung tatay. So, the National Child Support Program should help in the paternity check, di ba? Assuming nandoon, sabihin ng construction worker, hindi ako yung tatay niyan. Then, hindi na siya, you have to go to court na.
Yes, pero from my point of view, dito sa bill na to, hindi ka naman basta magkiklaim ka lang. Of course, there will be requirements, documentary requirements, like marriage contract.
Ang question ko lang pag nag-dispute lang. So, pag nag-dispute, klaro tayo, pupunta pang korte.
Yes.
Honorable Daza, you wanted to say something?
Well, it was answered by my colleague, Kong Marivic. But however, just to clarify further, so in regard to the question of Kong Romulo, the cases here are defined as simple cases. So if it's non-disputed, it will be entertained. And in regard to the other question posed, if the parent is a minor, I believe under Section 9, as Kong Marivic shared, it's defined here, and in simple terms, it would be the grandparent or the mother of the minor. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Other questions?
Ma'am, it's just a manifestation.
Go ahead.
Yes, I just like to manifest my support to this bill, and hopefully all members be co-authors of the said measure once it's consolidated and passed. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you. That's noted. I would like to ask the DSWD some clarifications. This is in view of the recently enacted RA 12231, or the Government Optimization Act, which mandates streamlining, rationalization, and avoidance of duplication of functions within the bureaucracy. How feasible is the proposed creation of a National Child Support Office, or NCSO, and Regional Child Support Office, RCSO, within the DSWD? We want to see if, A, there is institutional design and compliance with this act, whether the establishment of a new NCSO and RSSO is consistent with the objectives, and B, that there will be an avoidance of bureaucratic duplication. C, implementation safeguards and administrative efficiency, and whether the DSWD has conducted any impact assessment or cost-benefit analysis regarding the creation of the NCSO.
With regards to the rationalization and streamlining of our function, the DSWD is currently, ang task po kasi ngayon ng DSWD is responding to the inquiries from individuals who are claiming child support. So, as of now, talagang wala pa pong specific office or unit within the DSWD that handles ng child support, except for one staff po na na-assign to respond to these concerns. Yun pong concerns, ma'am, maybe we can study po kung ano po yung pwede po naming may respond regarding this, including po yung tinatanong nyo na kung meron na po ba kaming ginawang study regarding dun sa NCSO. Thank you po.
Okay, we will pass the specific questions to your agency, and then we will request for the answers. If there are no questions or comments at this time, may I take this opportunity to acknowledge our partners who are with us today in this room. Thank you very much for your effort, attendance, and participation. May I remind the resource persons to submit your written position papers as soon as possible, please, to this committee. And to ensure due and careful consideration of all stakeholders' position papers, and in light of RA 12231, or the Government Optimization Act, which was recently signed into law in August 2025, and mandates streamlining, rationalization, and avoidance of duplication of functions within the bureaucracy, it is necessary that we fine-tune the CSRA measures to align with this new law. Thus, is there a motion to create a technical working group to review these measures and to nominate a TWG chair?
Madam Chair, may we reconsider, maybe we may just move to harmonize all the bills, get the position papers, and come up with a matrix, because I believe during the 19th Congress, ATWG was already organized for this particular bill. If we may just harmonize the bills with the comments, and then I'm sure the related agencies will put in chairs queries on the recently approved bills, then maybe we can just come up with a substitute bill consolidating all the comments. Madam Chair, may I move to consolidate all the proposed bills with the position papers of all national agencies and civil service organizations to come up with a substitute bill for presentation to the body and for approval.
The motion is carried for the consolidation of the bill to be presented. Okay. And considering that we do not have any other matters to take up, do we hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.